I think when we truly want to understand the relationship between Nick and Gatsby, then we probably have to look at two scenes that are very, very important when it comes to the relationship between those two. The first one is what many people will say is their most favorite scene of the whole movie. That is the first rendezvous between Daisy and Gatsby in Nick's cottage. Why is it such a favorite scene? Well, it is very funny at first and then, of course, deeply romantic. But we need to remember, in this very, very important scene, in this very, very important moment of Jay's life, Nick is the one who is in charge. He's offering the stage, and when Gatsby starts to panic, acting like the 17-year-old teenager who is so desperately in love, and that is of course a behavior that makes him so attractive to us as a viewer, because he comes across here as a very, very likable character. But Nick is the one who is in charge. Nick is the one who tells him, calm down, Jay, take your time, tell her what you want to tell her. In that sequence, he's acting a lot more mature than Gatsby is acting. And we have to remember, this probably, in a way, is the first scene of the whole movie when Jay Gatsby is not acting. At his parties in New York, well, he's in a way playing a role, but not here. This is, in a way, the true Jay Gatsby. If you can actually say there is one true Jay Gatsby. But this is the really, really important scene, the important moment for him. Seeing Daisy again, after all those years, a very, very important step. The parties, the money, the music, that is just a facade. But this goes to the core. And here, well, Nick has the lead. He's a lot more mature than Gatsby. And that, I think, is sort of the first very good, well, image, a very, very good example of the true relationship between those two people, Jay and Nick. And the second scene that I have in mind is when Gatsby utters this very, very famous phrase in the presence of Nick. You can't repeat the past? Well, of course you can. And Gatsby has center stage again. And in a way, Nick is the bystander. He's just sort of looking on, watching. And because all the focus is on Gatsby, we don't really ask ourselves, what is Nick thinking? What is he really thinking in that moment when Jay utters this very, very famous quote, can't repeat the past? Well, of course you can, meaning I can repeat the past. To me, at least, he doesn't agree with Gatsby. He's not, in a way, drawn into this tremendous belief that Gatsby expresses. He admires him, I think. To some extent, a little bit, he probably is fascinated, but I think he more admires that Gatsby has this strong belief, this, in a way, endless hope. He admires that, but there remains a distance. There remains a distance. He's just observing. That is, in a way, what he is throughout the whole movie. He is an observer. He's observing. He doesn't buy into it. He doesn't buy into what Gatsby is saying. He acknowledges it. He feels some kind of admiration. I think that is the part of the charisma of Gatsby, of course. That he, in a way, acts without any doubt, seemingly. That he acts in a way, in an irrational way. But he will not take a step back from it. He doesn't show any kind of doubt. That is, I think, the source of his charisma. But Nick never becomes a follower in that scene. He doesn't buy into Gatsby's set of beliefs, basically. He looks on. He looks on. He may be, you could say, doesn't want to destroy his dreams. He cannot destroy his dreams. He could confront Gatsby, of course, a lot more forcefully. He could tell him, Jay, forget about her. This is irrational. It will only end bad, which of course it does. He doesn't do that. He remains in the role of the observer. Somebody who, in a way, is more reflective than Gatsby, and even probably less naive than Gatsby. Somebody who is a very, very rational person. And if not knowing, then at least sensing that Gatsby's way, in the end, cannot actually lead him to where he, Gatsby, in the end actually wants. I think he truly hopes it, that Gatsby will achieve his goal. He's on his side. He truly cares for him. But there will always be that distance. There will always be that distance. He's reflecting, looking on. So in the end, why does he call him great? Why does he choose that adjective? Partly maybe because he truly admires him, at least to some extent. He admires this seemingly endless hope. But, my belief, I think he does it because in the end he feels truly sorry for him. Not only because that he dies, I mean, which is of course very, very tragic, but also because he failed. And deep down, I think Nick in a way anticipated that he would fail. He feels truly sorry for him. He feels a lot of empathy, a lot of sympathy for Gatsby. He never bought into Gatsby. In a way, he was always looking through him. The first time when they're together in this car ride to New York and Gatsby tells him that story, he enjoys the story on the one hand, on the one hand, he really likes Gatsby. And in a way, he wants to believe it, but he never really does believe it. And even in this final confrontation between Jay and Tom, he doesn't really take Jay's side. He wants him to win, but he remains the observer. And so in the end, great is his way of evaluate Gatsby. Because he truly feels sorry for him, because of the tragic ending of his life. And Nick shows something that most of the other people in that story simply don't do. He cares for him. In the end, he cares for him. Shows up at his funeral. Again, in a way, in a role of the observer. Gatsby, a person that you feel sorry for. Person you feel sympathy and empathy for. You want him to win. You want him to win. Nick wants him to win. Because guys like Tom, come on, a racist, a brute, probably abuses his wife, cheats on his wife. I mean, this guy wins in the end. But naturally, he doesn't deserve the victory. Jay Gatsby, he would deserve the victory in the end. And Nick is acknowledging that by giving him this adjective, great. But he stays the observer in the end, observing, watching.